I'm going to show you everything you need to know to hike to the summit of Baden-Powell. It's going to be about 4 miles to get up there, about 2,800 feet of climbing. It's definitely tough. This is a great training hike. It's about 37 switchbacks though, so we have a little bit of a gradual uphill. But again, it is tough. Hopefully my heart does not explode in my chest, which would be a different type of video. Exciting nonetheless. Anyway, on the way up there, we're going to see one of the oldest living things in Angeles National Forest in the San Gabriels, the Wally Waldron tree. I'll show that to you as we go up, and let's get the hike started. Now, Baden-Powell is just outside of Los Angeles in Angeles National Forest. After driving for about an hour, you will reach Vincent Gap Trailhead. It feels like a world away. We're up at about 6,500 feet. There's signs for bighorn sheep crossing the road, and it's also a place to park for the Pacific Crest Trail. The trailhead is clearly marked. There are bathrooms here, but no water. You do need an adventure pass or a national parks pass to park here, and the lot is very big, but it is a popular trailhead and does fill up early. The hike starts at the end of the parking lot here, and there are 2 trails. There's one past the White Gate. That's the Bighorn Mine. We're not going to do that. We're going to go up the hill towards Mount Baden-Powell, and you'll see there's a sign here. Take these distances with a grain of salt. It says 4.5 miles, and in a second or two it'll say something different. There's a cool PCT sign that's usually here. You can get a selfie with that. And just a few minutes past that last sign, you could say now the summit's 3.7, and we've probably gone for about 2 minutes. Definitely was not that far, but here we go. We're starting up. It's steep from the gun as we climb up here above the road. And after a few minutes of climbing, we're going to get a bit of a breather, mellow out. It's not as steep as the very beginning for the whole hike here. But as we go up, I want you to take notice of the trees here. There's some oaks around here, but by the time we get to the top, it's going to look very, very different. It's going to look like a more barren alpine world. Right from the gun, we have switchbacks. Now, this hike is known for the switchbacks. There's really not a lot to it, aside from making sure you don't miss a switchback and accidentally go straight. Some of them are wider, some of them are shorter as we climb up here. It's really a matter of just following these switchbacks uphill until we get closer to the summit. And of course, if you get tired as you go up the switchbacks, there's plenty of places that you can stop, have some water, have a snack, enjoy views up north into the Mojave, and, just take your time. All right, I'm about a mile in, and my heart hasn't exploded. That's good. I've been in about zone 3 or 4 if you're into heart rate zones. I will say that this climb, while there's a lot of vertical in it, it's all very well graded on these switchbacks, so you can kind of get into a rhythm. And after the parts are a little bit steeper, there's usually like a gradual part where you can kind of catch your breath before the next steep part. So really easy to kind of get a groove on this climb. Makes it seem a little bit easier than what it looks like on paper. Anyway, I got about 3 more miles, so let's get going. And let's stop and take a break. One of the nice things is that there are these benches up along the way. There's not a ton of them, but there are a few of them. You can stop, enjoy the views, catch your breath, and keep going up. Now, at around 1.7 miles, we're going to come to the junction of Lamel Spring. Usually you don't need this at this point unless you've been hiking maybe on the PCT and you need water. Let me show you what it looks like. We're going to go down here. This is the spring. This is late in the season. It's still running. I have been here when it's been dry in the past, though, in drought years, but this year it's been a wet year, and you can come check out the spring or go there if you need water, and then just head back to that junction to continue on the trail. You don't have to go down here, and this is not part of the overall mileage. Now, here we are back at the junction, back on the regular hike, and we're just going to continue to go uphill past Lamel Spring. Now, Baden-Powell isn't the highest mountain. It's actually the 5th highest peak here in the San Gabriels. The highest peak is Mount San Antonio, aka Mount Baldy. Baden-Powell used to be called North Mount Baldy here, and it's, I think, the highest peak that's not part of the massif that Mount Baldy is on. And the views are great, the prominence is great, which you'll get to see in a second as we continue uphill here. And as you hike up, you might see some of these flat areas to the side of the trail. These are tent sites, and these are generally used by PCT hikers. Look at the view from that tent site. It would be a great place to spend the night there. But fun to check out. And you might even see people camping there if you leave here, if you go early in the morning or late in the afternoon. But let's continue heading uphill here, up towards the summit. Now, as we get closer to the top, the switchbacks get a little bit tighter, a little bit easier to kind of see up here. And also, obviously as we're higher up, we're going to get nicer views down into the Mojave there. All those little buttes that are up in the middle of the flat, really nice. And you're also going to start to see a lot of these limber pines, and these are old, hundreds of years old trees that only grow in environments like this in the West. But after about 3.7 miles, these switchbacks are over, and we're out on the ridge, and you can see Mount Baden-Powell right in front of us. Now, this is one of my favorite sections of any trails here in Angeles National Forest. You're going to get some great views across to Mount San Antonio. It's Mount Baldy right there, all of the mountains around it. And then in the distance, you can see all the way into Orange County. That's Saddleback Mountain. That's Santiago Peak and Majesca Peak, those two tall peaks right there. Now, as we continue along the ridge, there's going to be a junction, and this is a junction where the PCT goes off to the right, and you can see there's a sign here, well-worn, old-school sign. But we're going to stay to the left to head up to the summit, and then right after the sign on the left-hand side is the Wally Waldron tree. This tree is estimated to be about 1,500 years old. I've heard somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000, so we'll go with 1,500. And it's named after Wally Waldron, who was influential in the Boy Scouts and helped create this trail and create the monument up at the top that we're going to see in a second. But it's just amazing to be able to touch something this old or be near something this old and enjoy these views in this harsh, kind of beautiful environment. Now, after the tree, there's just a short section of trail up to the summit. And before long, the memorial will come into view. And this is or was set up, I believe, in 1957 by the Boy Scouts, including Wally Waldron, to honor Lord Baden-Powell, who was the founder of the Boy Scouts. But it's a neat monument. It's got the directions on there. It's got some of the mottos from the Boy Scouts, and a little bit about Baden-Powell. I don't think he actually visited here. I think he did visit the United States, but I don't think he was actually in the San Gabriels. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you know anything about it. But you're going to want to continue going past the monument and trail register to what is, I think, the summit, and there's usually a summit sign. Sometimes there's a pole with a big American flag, but this is the place that is the, I believe, official summit, and you're going to get some great views all around you off to Mount Baldy and all of the high peaks here in Angeles National Forest. This is rare that I have the summit to myself. Come on a weekday, leave early in the morning, and you can have it to yourself. On the weekends, this gets really busy. As you would imagine, it's a popular hike. Now, if you're going to do it and drive all the way out here, you're going to want to check the Caltrans road site. Angeles Crest Highway, which we just took up here, often closes when there's washouts or other kinds of storm damage, or if there's snow. I'll put a link to that up on the screen right now, so check that out. Also, if there is snow, the road can be closed. This is a much different hike. It's obviously a dangerous hike. It's steep slopes. There's exposed sections. If you don't have winter hiking experience in the mountains, you're not going to want to come here and do this in the mountains. Go do something else. In terms of gear, I bring 2 liters of water. Normally, if it's really hot, maybe 3, but you can get away with 2. Trail runners are great. Keeps my feet light and comfortable going up the switchbacks. Some people like trekking poles to kind of get into a rhythm. This is a backcountry hike, so you want to bring the 10 essentials. I bring my InReach satellite communicator with me. There's a lot of different options depending on what you're looking for. Just go to my website if you want to learn more about these, but this lets me hit SOS if I get into trouble out here. And yeah, if you want to see all my gear picks or my latest gear picks, I have a non-sponsored page. Just search for Hiking Guy, best hiking gear. And if you want to come and do this hike, I have this web page as well with maps that you can print out or save to your phone. So just search for Hiking Guy Baden-Powell. If you want to make a day of it, there's a good combo you can do. Do this in the morning, go back down, have lunch at Vincent Gap, and then do Bighorn Mine, which is much easier and a very cool hike. You can go to Vincent's cabin as well. It's a really neat hike and an easy one to do after a tougher one like this. That's on the website too. All right, guys, thanks for coming with me. Thanks for making sure my heart didn't explode in my chest. And yeah, I'll see you on the trails.